Hey guys, welcome back to the Foolish Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. Just wanted to give you a few of my thoughts after Michigan's 31-7 victory over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. As expected, Rutgers for the past couple years, and it continued today, had a gritty performance. Gritty is how Coach Harbaugh described them in the pregame interview on the Michigan Radio Network. And again, Rutgers is just very gritty. They do not let up. They play you hard and they play you well. And you go through this game, and the first half is tight again. Last year at Rutgers, it was a tight game. Actually, Rutgers led at halftime last year. This game, first drive, 3rd and 4. Quarterback for Rutgers hits a slant. Sanders still slipped. Rod Moore took a bad angle. 69, 70 yards, touchdown. Just like that, 7-0 Rutgers, 1 minute into the game. Like, oh boy, this is going to be an interesting game. Michigan comes back, and I think they did 3 and out. 3 and out. JJ looked a little bit off a little bit. He started 0 for 2 for the game. How is that going to transfer over? Michigan punts back. Rutgers is going. Holding penalty. False start. Get a punt back. And I think one of the key things here, Michigan had the ball for the second time. It was 1st and 10-ish, I think. JJ had a pass out to Roman Wilson, who was wide open on like a corner route, fading away from him, and missed him badly. Right, he was open, missed him. 0 for 2. 0 for 2 start for JJ. And right there, Sharon Moore made, I think, the second best play of the game. He called a simple screen pass to, maybe it was Morgan, but got 8 yards on it, and that kind of just let JJ just, like, okay, take a breath. We're okay. I know last week, 3 interceptions, seemed a little bit off to start with. Just a simple screen pass, I think it was to Morgan, 8 yards. The next play, I believe it was, later in that series, he hit Donovan Edwards on a 3rd and 2, and then he hit Loveland. I love that. I don't know, do they call that the Diamond Series? I think they do, where you got Edwards and Corum out there. It just so much for the defenses to be watching for, and it seems like the players really enjoy the ingenuity out of that set. And Michigan hits Loveland with a reverse flea flicker. So I think Corum gave it to Edwards, who gave it to JJ, who threw it to Loveland. Big chunk play. Got down to the 4-yard line. Corum, next play, in we go. Touchdown, 7-7. From there, it was nip and tuck the first half. Not to be unexpected. I mean, Michigan seems to, even last year be that way, where Michigan didn't really blow teams out in the first half. I gotta say, throw a little red flag here. Michigan missed a field goal, and I totally rewatched the highlights, and I don't know how that ref called a delay of game on that 37-yard field goal by Turner that was kicked through, and you watch, unless the play clock was wrong, because you can see on replay, with 1 second on the clock, their center is hiking it back, and the ref threw the flag. I wish that Turner would have hit the 42-yard field goal, but he missed. So instead of that, Michigan having a 10-7 lead, it was 7-7. Back and forth defense. The defense was playing better. They held Rutgers to 9 yards in the second quarter. 9 yards. Michigan got the ball back, drove down, nice back shoulder throw to Samaje Morgan for his first touchdown as a Michigan Wolverine. Wolverines go up 14-7 at halftime. Great. Rushing game, not so much. JJ is actually the leading rusher in the first half. Throwing the ball much better after that slow start. Second half, they get the ball. First drive, nice long drive. I think it was 8-minute drive, but they had to settle for a field goal. But that field goal was good, right? It got Michigan up 10 points, 17-7. Rutgers comes back. It's 17-7, and this is the play of the game. And there's 2 levels of this play. First, head coach of Rutgers, Greg Schiano, makes a blunder of a decision here. I'm just saying, unless you're right in the game, you're down 2 scores, and he decides to pass on I think it was a 44. It was a 44-yard field goal he would have kicked. Their kicker had a long of 51, so well within his range. They passed on a 44-yard field goal attempt. It would have made it, assuming he makes it, 17-10. You're one score down. Step in, Mike V. Sanders still, Will Johnson, all over a little bubble screen, little like wide receiver screen. Sanders still picks off the fourth down play and takes it to the house, 24-7. You go for the field goal there. It's 17-10, and you're still in the game, 24-7, and that's kind of it. I will have to say some little sidebar to that. Probably gets overlooked. Will Johnson had a pass breakup 2 plays before on 2nd and 10, and he got called for unsportsmanlike conduct. You saw the flag come in, and then somehow, unbelievable to me, the refs actually picked up that flag. I was shocked. I don't know I could ever remember a flag for unsportsmanlike conduct being picked up. But it got picked up. It would have been 1st and 10, 15 yards closer, 17-7 still. But instead, they picked up the flag. It became 3rd and 10. Another spectacular diving catch by the Rutgers wide receiver. Set up 4th and 2, and they passed on the field goal and took that. So, a little subplot there that flag got picked up. The reffing was Big Ten quality, I guess, where head scratching. You see replays and like, oh, that's not a catch. Stay with the ball. Don't even review the play. Or you see Colson Loveland extending the ball out and they don't move the ball at all. For like, I'm not saying he got the first down, but it was definitely a lot closer than where they marked it. So it's just like Big Ten is just such poor reffing usually all around. It's annoying. Ugh. But that play, Sanders Still's pick 6. Excellent job to weave through there. He avoided being tackled by Junior Colson. It's hard to avoid being tackled by Junior Colson. Took it 69 yards, 69, 70 yards. What a great return. 17-10 became 24-7, and that was basically it. Michigan got the ball back, drove down, got the ball in the end zone, 31-7. Rutgers got the ball back, ran, clock. 4th and 6, they couldn't get it. Just a fade play, like 2% chance of completion. Michigan gets the ball back, runs out the clock. Some things to take away from this. Offensive line, they were still shuffling that around. I'm not sure if they're looking at like quarter-by-quarter analysis of the running game or what, but still running, pushing, O-line people around trying to see what works. We'll see how that plays out. The offensive line wasn't anything spectacular. I know they ended up with 200 yards rushing. JJ got sacked a couple times. Still some problems picking up blitzes. Edwards blew another pickup of a blitz there on a key 3rd down. It is what it is, so they got to work on that. Where I thought this O-line would be like the strength of this team, it seems to not be the strength. The strength seems to be JJ's arm. It is what it is. Corum, can't complain. He had some spectacular runs where Michigan was kind of just spinning its wheels. 21 carries, I think it was, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. Edwards doesn't get the yards rushing like you would hope he would. I mean, if you just think about him in the Purdue game and the Ohio State game, you think, oh, he's going to have well over 100 yards. It's like, he doesn't have that yet. He needs holes to go through. Corum can make guys miss. Corum can get yards. Edwards seems that he really needs a hole or he's not going to get much for you. But his game isn't just running. He had like a few receptions for like 40, 50 yards total of offense. So good job on that, Edwards. It's just going to be more of he almost seems like he might be in the NFL as it stands now, a 3rd down back. Someone who can catch you the ball out of the backfield. A nice advantage on a linebacker. That's what I could see him being. Like if you remember the Lions had a guy like Theo Riddick for years where Stafford would hit him for 3rd down conversions all the time. I could see Edwards being something like that, a 3rd down type back. But perhaps with another through this year, and as he gets back healthy, off his hand surgery and such, maybe he'll round in. But even, they had that where it was like 3rd and short or so, and they gave it to Edwards, and like Corum gets that. Edwards didn't get it. It was like 3rd and 2, and it came up short. It is what it is. So Edwards isn't that power back yet. JJ, after the 0-for-2 start, finished the game 15 of 19. Pretty good. You'll take that. Michigan had 214, 15 yards passing, 200 yards rushing. Great. JJ did an excellent job of keepers there. I think there were 3 or 4 runs where he just was hand the ball off or keep it, and he played it right those times for big chunk yards. He finished with like 50-some yards rushing, and I think that also I don't know if that includes the 2 sacks he had or not. So, still good on him to keep that ball, and it really makes the defense play more honest. Later on, and you could see the effects of that. It was like 3rd and short, and the linebacker or the defensive back came down, and he went with JJ and left the running back who went right up the middle and got the first down. He stayed with JJ, right? He didn't crash down on the running back. And just the threat of JJ keeping the ball is what set that up. And he did that earlier on like a 4th down conversion and some other 3rd downs. So JJ's got to do that 4 or 5 times a game. Keep it, and smartly, he did not take any big hits. He didn't go for the extra yards. He went out of bounds. Great job. Good bounce back by JJ. Only 1 touchdown pass, but 15 out of 19 the rest of the game. You can't complain about that. So, good job on that. Work on getting some more wide receivers open and such. Overall, solid game all around. I liked how Loveland really was a big part of the offense today. Wilson did his part. Maje Morgan got in the act, so it's good. Get some guys some action. It'll be interesting to see what happens next week. Michigan leaves the friendly confines of Ann Arbor, the big house, and heads on the road to Lincoln, Nebraska for the first time away from home this season. I think it's the first of 2 weeks in a row where they go on the road. We know Nebraska's down a little bit, obviously with Matt Rule in his first year as head coach, but road games are not, you can't take anything for granted in road games. And just for the top of my head, Florida State won by 2 at Boston College. When I came down to video this, they're tied going to overtime against Clemson. You can't overlook road games. You can't, no matter what your opponent is. This is a good game. Of step up, definitely a step up from Cupcakeville that Michigan had versus ECU, UNLV, Bowling Green. A step up. So, good to get the win. Classic, if you will, Michigan game where they're kind of in the game at halftime, 14-7, right? And then the second half, just take over, if you will. 31-7, they win, right? They get the last, whatever points that is, to put the game away. Nice. Hopefully they can keep that up. Hey, guys, those are my foolish thoughts. If you have anything you want to add, please put them in the comments below. Until I see you guys next time, as always, thanks for watching, and go Blue!